السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما الأعمال بالنيات. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ما قال ربنا وخالقنا ورازقنا من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Respected elders, brothers, sisters and friends, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, this hadith is narrated by Imam Muslim, that I have been favored over the other Anbiya alayhim salatu wasalam with 6 qualities, right? He sitted with 6 qualities. And then he says that nusirtu bir-ru'b masafata shahr. I've been helped with this terror that comes in the heart of my enemies, that even a month away they'll be worried. For example, the leader of the Persian Empire, right? The king of the Persian Empire, Kisra, he received a letter from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam inviting him to Islam, and he became so worried and so upset that he sent 2 people to try to go and try to, na'uzubillah, arrest Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And on the other hand, you have Qaisar, you have Hiraqal, the king of the Byzantine, or the emperor of the Byzantine Empire. He received this letter from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, after doing investigation about Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if he's speaking the truth, he's going to rule the lands under my feet right now. And he was in Jerusalem at that time. And in his lifetime, Hiraqal's lifetime, the Muslims did conquer Jerusalem, right? So 1 month away. The second thing, and this is what I want to focus on, and you could look up the hadith to find these other qualities. The second thing is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that I've been given jawami'ul kalim. I've been given very concise but comprehensive speech. Meaning that each word that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam uttered is like a pearl and a diamond. If you were to look in it, you'll find so much depth of meaning. Rather than saying a pearl and a diamond, let's say it's an ocean. Every word that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. When you dive into this ocean, you'll find pearls, diamonds, oil, whatever else you need. Everything that you need is in these words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so Imam Abu Dawud, we've heard the name, right, of one of the famous 6 books of hadith. Imam Abu Dawud is one of these muhaddithin. And in his lifetime, he collected around 500,000 ahadith. And he said, from this 500,000 ahadith that I found, I wanted to present a collection to the world so that I could share with them, so they could benefit from Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's teaching. If you have 500,000 ahadith, who's going to have the ability to sift through these? So he selected between 4,800 to 5,000 ahadith. And he said that if I present these to the people will benefit. Right? But then he said, and if I were to choose just 4 ahadith from this collection, if a person were to act upon these, understand them and act upon them, it would be enough for them to live their life. Meaning that the spirit of Islam is encapsulated in these 4 ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as you'll see in the coming weeks, our time for Jumu'ah, the khutbah will get shorter and shorter. So because of that, in the spirit of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's keeping things short, I want to go over these ahadith, these 4 ahadith, and then there's a few more ahadith as well on a weekly basis, inshallah, for the next few weeks. We'll just go over these ahadith and see how we can implement them in our lives. Because these ahadith, these 4 that Imam Abu Dawud has mentioned, and other muhaddithin have mentioned 5 or 6 of these ahadith, they really encapsulate the spirit of Islam. The spirit, what I mean by that, is that Islam is more than just the prayers. Islam is just more than just zakat. It's more than just hajj, right? These are the body of Islam. And everything, it needs a body and a soul. For something to be alive, it needs a body and a soul. The combination of these two, body and soul, is what gives life, right? So now if there's just a soul and there's no body, that thing is considered dead, right? Because our souls don't die. After we die, our soul is just removed from our body. It's not that our soul becomes non-existent. If a soul is just floating around, you don't consider there to be life, right? And if there's a body without any soul, that's the dead bodies that we see when somebody passes away. We don't even refer it to a person anymore. We refer it to that person's body, right? Or we say the deceased, the mayyit, right? That's also, you need both things for it to be alive. So these actions that we do, each and every one of them, they are the result of the spirit of Islam. But the spirit of Islam is manifested in all of our actions that we do on a daily basis. Our salah, our zakah, our interactions with people. So the first hadith that Imam Abu Dawud rahmatullahi alayhi mentioned, and this is perhaps the most famous hadith and one of the most important. Some ulama have said that it's equal to half of deen. Others have said 1/3, others have said 1/4, and there's reasons for each of them coming to this number. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. Imam Abu Dawud brings this hadith. Imam Bukhari brings this hadith at the beginning of his book. Imam Nawawi brings it at the beginning of Riyadh al-Salihin. The muhaddithin have made a habit of starting their books with this hadith. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. Verily, actions are rewarded based on their intention. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَىٰ. And for each person is whatever they intend. فَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. So whoever's hijrah is for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, then their hijrah is for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They'll be rewarded accordingly. وَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ لِدُنْيَا. But whoever migrates and does hijrah for the dunya, أَوْ إِمْرَأَةٍ يَتَزَوَّجُهَا, or for a woman to marry her. For example, the woman, she lived in that city, or she said, you have to make hijrah, then I'll marry you. فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى مَا هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِ. The hijrah is for that, whatever thing they migrated for. They won't get the reward of hijrah for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this hadith, when we speak about intention, you know, for those who have studied deen, when you begin to study the last year of alim course, the first hadith that's discussed. Sometimes you go for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks on this hadith. This intention, quite frankly, it's the differentiator. It's the differentiator between iman and kufr. It's the differentiation between a good deed and a bad deed. It's the differentiation between something being for the dunya or something being for the akhirah. And it's the difference between our jannah and jahannam as well. Intention, this powerful thing, intention. And when you look at intention, there's two aspects to our intention. One is specifying an action. For example, we're going to pray salah. I make the intention to pray Jumu'ah Salah, you make the intention to pray Jumu'ah Salah. But let's say that the khatib that has to do the second Jumu'ah, he happens to be here. So he makes the intention that I am just going to pray Nafil Salah. I'm not going to pray Jumu'ah so I can lead the second Salah. For him, it won't count as Jumu'ah. It'll count as something else, right? And then when he leads Jumu'ah in the second Jama'ah, it's going to count as Jumu'ah for him. So our actions, each of them need to have, our ibadat, they need to have an intention in order for them to be valid. That's one part of it. But the second aspect, and the aspect that we need to focus on today, is our action, it impacts whether we'll be rewarded for a deed or punished for a deed. We could be doing the same deed. If two people do the same deed, but they have different motives behind it, one person will be rewarded, one person will be punished for it. And if a person is doing something that has nothing to do with deen, apparently, something that seems to be completely with the dunya, apparently, if a person has the right intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward the person. So let's dive into this a little bit deeper. As far as it comes to our actions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that أَنَا أَغْنَى الشُّرَكَى. This is Hadith Quds. أَنَا أَغْنَى الشُّرَكَى. That I am free from all sorts of partners. So on the Day of Judgment, when people who did their actions to show other people, on the Day of Judgment, when they come to me, I'll say, go get your reward from the people that I want you to get reward from. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said on the Day of Judgment, 3 people will be brought in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. One of them is a scholar. a scholar, somebody who dedicated their life to deen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked, what did you do? He said, I studied the deen. Why did you study the deen? So that I could please you, Ya Allah, so that I could teach the people. Allah said, no, you did it so people will say you're a great qari. And they said that you're a qari, so go to Jahannam. Take your place in Jahannam. Why? Because the intention was wrong. Every deed was apparently good, but the intention behind it was wrong. Go to Jahannam. Then a person will come and this person had a lot of money. He'll say, Ya Allah, Allah will say, what did you do? He'll say, Ya Allah, I spent this money in your path. No, you didn't. You spent it so people would say that you're generous. And they said it. Go to Jahannam. The third person will come. What did you do? I am a mujahid. This person was a shaheed. I was a mujahid, Ya Allah. I was so in love with you and I believed in your cause so much I gave my life for your deen. Allah will say, no, you didn't. You did this so that people will say that you are a great warrior and you are brave and you are courageous. And they said it. Go to Jahannam. Three great actions culminating with one in which a person literally lays down their life because the intention was wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't accept those actions. And really it's logical. If we think about it, it's very logical. For example, let's say that brother Izzuddin, right? Because we know, mashallah, he has a company, driving company. Let's say I invite him to my house. I invite him and I say that, brother, come eat. I give him a nice dinner, right? And I even give him a gift at the end. He's like, mashallah, Imam Sahib is treating me so well. You'll be happy, right? Will you be happy? He'll be happy, even though he usually invites everybody. But he'll be happy. But then if I mention, I say, hey, I needed a ride from the airport next week. Then all what I did, it will become worthless. The food remains, the gift remains, but I say, you didn't do this for me. You did all of this so that I would give you a ride. This is why you did it. The action is the same, but the motive behind it has changed. I don't want the gift. I don't want the food. Why do you invite me? You should have just asked me for the ride, right? This is how it will be if somebody does something nice for us, but we find out later on, oh, they really wanted something from us, it won't be the same. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is as well, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we owe it to Him that we do our actions with the best of intention. So that's one aspect of it, right? That our good deeds, if they're not done with the proper intention, if they're done for show, then what will happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't accept them. What happens if a person has a double intention? Or if a person has an intention such that, like they start out with a good intention and then their intention becomes bad. If that action is something that's continuous, meaning it can't be broken, like salah, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do is He'll look at the majority. For example, there's a story, I mentioned it before, but everybody laughs every time. So inshallah you'll laugh this time as well too. That a person, he came to the masjid and he wanted to pray his salah. So he's praying his sunnahs, then a group of people are, standing and talking in the back because we love to do that after salah. And people are talking for a long time, and this person, he's praying his salah, and then somebody just comments, look at this brother. MashaAllah, he has so much conviction in his salah, he's praying so long. Wow, he must be following the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he read all of Surah Baqarah in one rakah. So the man hears it. He gets a little bit happy. So he starts to make his tilawat a little bit longer. He makes his rukus a little bit longer. When he makes sajda, he rubs his head on the forehead a little bit longer. Alright? His forehead on the ground. Then the people keep their conversation going, and then eventually what happens? They comment on him again, and he keeps praying, he finishes his salah, and they're talking about whatever they're talking about. And then he leaves. But on the way out, he passes by them, and he says, this is nothing, you should see my tahajjud salah, right? Right? For a person like that, if the majority of his salah was for Allah, then he'll be rewarded. It's accepted. And if the majority was for somebody else, it's not accepted. On the other hand, if it's an action that's can be broken up. For example, serving the masjid, right? Or serving some organization that does humanitarian work. Then up to the point where your intention is good, you're rewarded for that. And when the intention changes, you're not rewarded for that anymore. So this is something we need to constantly check on our intention. But I want to take us on another path, right? I want to show one more thing. Intentions is not always negative. It's not just like my ibadah is not going to count because my intention was bad. Let's leverage intention for us. In our lives, anything that we can do, that we do, whether it has to do with ibadah, whether it's just regular day-to-day things, if we apply the proper intention, it can become ibadah for us. And it's very easy to do, and actually the majority of our life, without any effort, can become ibadah. All we have to do is we just have to change the perspective through which we view this world. So for example, how much do we sleep a day? Let's say 6 hours a day. Doctors recommend 8, 6. I'd say maybe most people get like 4 hours, I don't know. Let's say 6, so the math will be easy, right? 6 is 1/4 of the day, right? Now let's say that average person lives about 80 years nowadays. So a person sleeps 6 hours a day, that's 1/4 of their life, 20 years you'll be sleeping during your lifetime. If before going to sleep, you go to sleep with wudu, you go to sleep and you read the du'as you're supposed to read, and you go to sleep with the simple intention that, Ya Allah, I'm going to sleep now so that I can wake up for Fajr tomorrow, right? You'll be rewarded for the entire time that you're asleep. Add in more intentions. Ya Allah, I'm going to sleep now so I can wake up for tahajjud. Whether you wake up for tahajjud or not, you already got the reward of praying tahajjud. Add another intention. Ya Allah, I'm waking up so I'll be fresh tomorrow so I can be good to my family. You get reward for that. That entire time you were asleep, ibadah. Now how much time in our life do we spend at work? I don't know, 8 hours a day. I think it'll come out to 20 years of a person's life, as more than 20 years. But let's just do 20 years, right? 20 years of your life you spend at work. If before going to work you make the niyyah, oh Allah, allow me to be a good role model to people and show Islam in a positive light to people, you're rewarded there. Ya Allah, I'm going there so that I can have halal rizq for my family. I save them from haram. Ibadah. 20 years of ibadah right there. You still have to go to work, you still have to go to the meetings, you still have to deal with office politics, you still have to deal with this and that and all of that, but you're rewarded for all of that, right? 40 years of ibadah, just for that. How much time do we spend eating every day? Few minutes, it adds up, right? At the end of our life, maybe 2-3 years went to just eating, if you add up all of the hours we spent eating. Even that, if we eat that, Ya Allah, I'm eating with the intention, that the best intention would be so that I get strength, so that I could pray and worship you. But how many of us really have that intention? Many a time our intention is, it looks good, I want to eat it, right? Have the intention that, Ya Allah, I'm appreciating your mercy and your bounties upon me. Have this niyyah, you'll be rewarded for eating as well, right? And like this, 40, 50 years of your life, over 50% of your life without making any change can become ibadah. Just through the power of this one thing, intention. So this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he highlighted it to us. If you have a good intention, your dunya will become akhirah. And if you have a negative intention, your akhirah can become an act of dunya. And I'll just end by explaining the last part of the hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he specifically mentioned hijrah. Now, many brothers and sisters here, perhaps those that are from Pakistan, you'll at least know from your parents or grandparents what hijrah is. Leaving, all of your belongings and moving to a new place, thinking that it's for deen, right? Now, your parents or grandparents may tell you all the difficulties that they endured at that time. They gave up everything. Now imagine somebody were to say that this is not accepted. That would be unbelievable. We gave up everything. Hijrah, that's what it is. I left behind my life, my money, my family, everything, to go to this new place in the name of Islam, and to say that it's not accepted would be unbelievable and incomprehensible. But there was a man in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He loved a woman, and the woman's name was Qais. Her real name was Qayla, but her kunya was Qais. And he loved her. He said, I want to marry you. He said, you have to make hijrah. Because he wasn't Muslim, become Muslim and make hijrah, then I'll marry you. So he became Muslim and he made hijrah from Makkah to Medina, and then she married him. When Rasulullah found out this is the reason that he made hijrah, he stood on the minbar and he said this, that whoever hijrah is for Allah and His Rasul, they're rewarded for that. And whoever's hijrah is for the dunya or for a woman to marry, referring to him, then their hijrah is for whatever they did. Marriage is something that's good, it's permissible, it's an act of ibadah as well, right? It's not anything bad that he intended. But because he wasn't intending hijrah itself, that reward was gone and he got to marry and his marriage was valid and all of that, right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to rectify our intention. One thing that we could immediately do on the way home today, that we could implement what's been spoken about today, is to just think about the different times in our life, right? that where are the different actions in our life that we can modify on the basis of having a good intention, right? Just put on your phone, put an alarm at random times that, renew your intention. It'll just show up, it'll say, it's a notification, renew your intention. Have that. Then think about random things in your life, write them down, put them on your phone or something, and then inshallah, really think about these things and change the intention. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us all to be people of very lofty intentions. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan rasulullah, ashhadu anna hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.
الحمد لله الأكرم الذي خلق الإنسان وكرم وعلمه من البيان ما لم يعلم، فسبحان الذي لا يحسن امتنانه باللسان ولا بالقلم. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه نجوم طريق الأمم. أما بعد، فإن علم الشرائع والأحكام هو أعظم فرائض الإسلام، ومن ثم أمر به وحض عليه تعليما وتعلما. فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: بلغوا عني ولو آية. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: من يرد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أمن هو قانت آناء الليل ساجدا وقائما يحذر الآخرة ويرجو رحمة ربه. قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم، ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر رؤوف رحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من صلى وصام. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من قعد وقام. وصلى الله تعالى على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والملائكة المقربين والخلفاء الراشدين وعلى الستة الباقية من العشرة المبشرة والسائر المهاجرين والأنصار والتابعين الأبرار الأخيار إلى يوم القرار رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. اللهم اغفر لنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات، إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان، اللهم انصر إخواننا في كل مكان. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.